Gentlemen, on Daybreak, and in the upper right-hand corner, we have our Orange Terran player from KenZy Esports Club. It is LucifroN. And his opponent down here at the bottom left-hand corner is the purple Zerg player who has been crushing her competition lately. It's Acer Scarlett.
Yeah, Scarlett, she's been playing a very standard type of Zerg, rushing quite fastly to Hive, actually around the 12-minute mark, getting that Spire out as well and going straight into Greater Spire. The thing is, LucifroN's style really allows him to kind of slow that down a lot. He loves, as you mentioned, to put out a lot of Hellions early and then follow up into a Banshee to kind of surprise his opponent. The best thing about LucifroN's play as well is he's always retaining 2 Banshees at a time. He will never allow them to die off early, so he can poke back in and force their opponent to make mistakes. And that should slow down Scarlett's strategy here, because she's played the same strategy all 3 games against Illusion, actually. So LucifroN should match up very well against her.
And this is kind of the quintessential Terran versus Zerg matchup map too, so I would not expect a whole lot of weird builds out of our players. I would expect things to be pretty normal from here on out. Looks like a barracks coming down for LucifroN, but very normal stuff for now. We'll see how quickly Scarlett decides to expand. All
right, so LucifroN in his game number 1 against Rubby, he went for a quick command center. Normally a majority of his best of ones, or the first game out of a best of 3 series, he usually goes for some kind of aggressive play, and he seems to be wanting to throw off players here at this tournament by going for really quick expansion. So I want to see if that's held true here, as his racks will be finishing up very soon, and whether or not he falls up into gas very quickly. Normally you would have that gas being started up right about now, so a strong possibility of going for that expansion very quickly.
Yeah, and when I was watching his practice custom games, where of course he wasn't playing against anyone, he was just warming up his build, he was going for the 1 racks expand into double gas right afterwards. That seemed to be his order. Now maybe that's not an indication of what he's going to do in the actual tournament itself, but important to note nonetheless. So yeah. Scarlett opening up the exact same way she did all 3 games against Illusion. We did see that she was a little bit susceptible to early pressure, but if she's able to go unharassed for a little while, that 4-queen build into double gas becomes very powerful.
Yeah, again, the Marauder Hellion and with the high Marine count seems to be really good against the strategy that Scarlett's going for. He's got to be quick, because you can't get in there too slow, or of course transfuses will be available, and Scarlett can just trade pretty efficiently as she's able to bust out the transfuses. So if LucifroN does forgo for an aggressive push, don't expect him to have +1 or anything. He wants to get there as quick as possible. There goes that command center following up here for LucifroN. We'll see if he follows up into the double gas, which might be a little bit on the greedy side. You normally want to grab the double racks after your first racks, just to make sure you're getting units on the field. But there we go. He's going for the first and second gas. Luckily for him, Scarlett's not doing anything aggressive, so it will work out for him.
Yeah, and it was actually an indication as to what he was actually going to do from his practice games. So we'll see how Scarlett is going to react to this. See what sort of vision she's got on her opponent right now. Looks like just the 1 Overlord around the side, which of course in fine position now to be able to pick up on gas timings, get around the back, sacrifice itself, and get into the main. And the second Overlord is following its way around the 12 o'clock.
Yeah, normally you'll see that Overlord move in around 6:45. I would actually argue that it would be better for Scarlett to sacrifice it a little bit earlier because of LucifroN's known build styles. He likes to go for really quick 3rd command centers. Again, maybe send that in around like 5:45, 6 minutes, just to get a full tab of what exactly LucifroN is going for. He is going to get a little bit aggressive here with a couple Marines, trying to sneak them on by, so Scarlett doesn't create links quickly enough. Unfortunately, with the 2 links do making their way on in, they will scout the 3 Marines. So we do have the 3rd and 4th Queen on the way for Scarlett, which should be good enough to actually hold off any type of pressure that will be put on by for LucifroN.
Sure, and if she follows the same pattern, I was about to say, double gas, then we'll see another hatchery here in just about a minute. And she gets out there, continues her creep spread, prioritizes it, as a matter of fact, connects those bases, and makes sure she stays really safe when she moves into her 3rd expansion. So for the time being, though, LucifroN's not up to too much out of the ordinary either with that double gas. He's got quite a bit of income at the moment. He'll be able to move into those Banshees that we talked about before. He'll be able to spam out those Hellions. Of course, LucifroN loves his early game Hellion play, even loves it in the mid game too. He looks going to poke in here with a few Marines, but even when he gets those mech builds up and running, those Hellion run-bys are really a hallmark of his play. Yeah, with that starport coming out, he'll be able to get to the medevacs here, and he keeps these Marines alive. He doesn't want to lose them. They're really important for when his play comes in the mid game. They're trying to step up an Overlord here, which actually could supply block Scarlett here for a little bit. She does have one about to pop out though, so it'll be only
a minor supply slowdown there. And he's going to lose his Marines. And that's the thing. It's really important that he holds his Marines here because he actually uses them for when he brings his Hellions in. They hit in the natural, and then the Marines drop into the main and get some free damage done on drones. And unfortunately, losing 2 of them is quite painful.
Yeah, but I mean, he killed the Overlord, and the way he stutter stepped out of there and killed 4 Zerglings on top of that was really impressive, I've got to say.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff from LucifroN there. Of course, following this up with his trademark cloaked Banshees, lots of Hellions ready to go. So this is a very LucifroN strategy so far.
Yeah, so this changes everything. So again, actually, it's worth it for him to trade the Marines if he's going for this Banshee. The Hellions will run in the third, and they'll distract a little bit, get on the creep and get into the natural, and start harassing the drone line. And when the Banshees come into the main, he'll follow up with the second Banshee as well, and just have them pinpointing from the third and the main, just bouncing back and forth. And it's such an annoying strategy. You can lose so much if you don't deal with it appropriately. It's a bit of a different strategy than Illusion went for, so I'm wanting to see if Scarlett can hold it off or not.
Well, a very nice job to actually sit those Marines there and then run away from the Xel'Naga Tower as soon as the Hellions started making their way into the natural, so they'll be able to get in relatively unmolested. 3 drones have actually fallen, 4 now, and they're all lined up off to the right-hand side. That could be pretty bad, but no. Scarlett does a nice job of running around with Zerglings from the side to be able to trap those Hellions in position, not allow them to get that perfect shot that they were looking for in the line of drones.
I like him just bypassing the Queens there. Don't even deal with them. Allow them to do their damage, but try and land some nice kills on the drones. But again, nice play from Scarlett, saving the majority of them. And it looks like finally the Banshees are starting to pop out. We do have the first one done. Cloak is very done as well. And it looks like the second Banshee popping out very soon as well, a little over 50%. So the double pronged harassment is going to be hitting very soon. Behind this, with the aggression happening, it allows LucifroN to tech up very heavily here, moving into stem pack +1. So when engagement comes in the later mid game, he'll be able to deal with anything that comes his way pretty efficiently.
Spore Crawlers are on the way, but they're not close to done, so this will be a few workers killed before Scarlett's able to pick up on this. Nice job, though. At the same time, as soon as this Banshee engages, the Zerglings get a great surround on everything next to the Xel'Naga Tower, so taking a little bit of damage with her, but still, this Banshee has already killed 5, now 6 workers.
Really smart play from Scarlett. She realized what LucifroN usually goes for, the Banshee harassment in the main, and then the follow-up in Hellions in the natural, so she just went in the middle of the map and caught them before he was able to actually send them in, so that was really cleverly well done. But still, look at his control here, poking out so many drones. The Spore Crawler just barely out of range here, so the Queen can't really get on top of it. Still poking off drones as well. And the other Banshee is actually in the middle of the map at the same time, and there we go. Now going to start queuing it up for the third, and this is just LucifroN play, and he's executing it very well.
Wow, 15 kills already. This has paid for itself many times over. Units tab shows 46 drones to 52. You want to be very far ahead as a Zerg player at this time in your overall drone count, but when you've had 27 of those killed out from underneath you, makes it very difficult to continue doing what you want to. As we see, the Infestation Pit's about to fall to finish up, but Scarlett doesn't have that many resources to invest in higher tech units, or just higher tech period.
Oh man, so well done. And LucifroN, with having that Banshee in the bottom left corner, very low on HP, it allows for him, when Scarlett moves out across the middle of the map, to come in and get more drone kills off. So keep an eye on that Banshee. It will come into play later on. But with this third now on the way, Lings are going to be underneath it. It's going to be slowing down the economy here for LucifroN just a tad bit. If you look with his aggression early on, he doesn't have that much of an army really on the field. So got to be careful as he moves out to the middle of the map here to get rid of his Lings.
Oh, and it looks like the Lings do get some pretty good surface area. They're going to take some units with them, but they will eventually all die and recognize the need to get out of there. Of course, this Overlord is almost at maximum creep spread here, so we'll take a solid minute, even after this Overlord is killed, for this command center to be dropped down.
Alrighty, so +1-1 is now finishing up for LucifroN, moving into siege mode at the same time, getting more factories added onto the set as well, so we'll be able to crank out those siege tanks as much as possible, and also adding on the reactors. So his production, as soon as the third does land, is going to soar above the normal point at this game when you open up with Banshee. So he's going to be getting very strong within the next minute or two. Will Scarlett fall up into a fourth? That's what I'm kind of looking for. She needs one at the moment.
Well, she just checked up there with Zergling, so she sees the coast is clear. Let's see what she does after that.
Banshee.
Now the Banshee swings back in, now up to 19 kills. The drone slaughter continues. 31 workers killed to 0 at the moment. You can see resources lost tell the tale of this game so far.
Well, she has gotten Infestors out and Pathing Gland, so now she's into her normal point here. 7 Infestors popping out, +2/2 on the way, and this is where she starts to really control the middle of the map. As you notice, even with the aggression from LucifroN killing off a lot of drones, she's still able to grab the middle of the map with creep spread. It's really hard to actually kind of slow that down with Banshees being in here from playing the natural. But the Marines popping in, a nice catch up from LucifroN will be able to slow down these Queens. Lings are on their way, but there aren't that many on the field here. Oh, the other Queens do get away with a nice transfusion, but he is going to slow down the creep spread.
That's true. I mean, that's very critical because the concentration of the active creep tumors was right there. But to be able to retain, oh, nice fungal growth actually catches all but one of the Marines there, and that's going to force this drop back. But to be able to save 2 Queens there was actually remarkable.
And she gets the medevac as well. So a handy amount of Marines are killed off, and that's going to slow down LucifroN as well. But Scarlett also brought the Queens back too, so she can continue with that creep spread, never allowing it to ever stop here. LucifroN now has played defensive for a while.
And LucifroN is doing a nice job of, okay, what can kill me? I have a nice advantage, despite that there's a lot of creep spread out there, and that Scarlett does have a little bit of control of the map. What can kill me? Zergling run-bys. And what is he preparing against? Zergling run-bys. He's got supply depots and bunkers in perfect positions. He's got the supply depots over at the natural too, and all he has to do is raise those up, and nothing's going to touch him when he ends up moving out on the map.
All right, well, Scarlett moving into her late game tech that she loves to do. Hive and Spire now finishing up. Will be able to move into Greater Spire very quickly here as well. How many drones does she have? Does she have enough to actually afford all this? 75 certainly does. Would like for her to grab that 7th and 8th gas so she can keep up on Bruther production right away. And she's even moving into Bailing speed here. So this is the point where Scarlett gets very, very strong here. It's just a matter of her holding off all these pushes and not allowing a hatchery to die. And she will be stronger than LucifroN for a while in the late game.
And it looks like LucifroN's going to try and do some damage over here to this 4th base, but chased down by Infestors, and the medevac gets caught. Nice job to drop down those Marines and try and take an Infestor or two with him, but can't quite grab it. It looks like this medevac is just going to die.
Yep. Well, at the same time, though, it allows LucifroN to push across the middle of the map, wants to clear this creep spread as much as possible, and he's doing a better job of it than Illusion did, actually. It hasn't been able to get past half across the middle of the map. Gonna go ahead and try and charge down some Infestors as well. Energy is being expended there, but Scarlett will be able to retreat with her Infestors. 26 Lings are on the way. Not enough medevacs here, unfortunately, though, for LucifroN. So these fungals are actually doing a amount of damage here.
Yeah, sometimes with these pushes, players have invested in medevacs a little bit quicker, and so the fungals are really minimized because the medevacs just heal too quickly. Oh, good target fire picks off a lot of the Banelings. No Zergling support there, so they get a little bit farther ahead. And the Banelings being destroyed, despite the good fungals that started this engagement, is actually really bad for Scarlett.
Scarlett had the flank set up, actually. She had some Lings on the left, she had some Lings on the bottom right here. Oh, that's a Infestor and a couple of Lings. So she's going to try and come in from behind and deal with the siege tanks, but this push is actually doing a lot of damage. And that 3rd hatchery, if it goes down, is huge here for Scarlett. It's going to be a little bit harder for Broodlings. And here comes the engagement from the side. Infested Terrans as well. Focusing down the Infestors is really important here for LucifroN. He gets a couple of them, and the Marines with their upgrades too are actually helping out with the Infested Terrans. And LucifroN is actually doing very well in this push. He should head up to the 4th if he can.
And these tanks were just not target fired in any way, shape, or form, so you can see that both of them alive with just very little hit points. 35 kills between those two. They were very critical in and just getting those swarms of Zerglings out of there. A lot of drones going to die here. In fact, just running into a slaughter. That's going to be a 4th base loss. Scarlett down to 2 bases, trying to remake a 3rd hatchery, but at the same time, LucifroN, he's continuing into a full-on air Terran switch. 3 more starports on the way, and he's got the space taken in the middle of the map.
Awesome. So we'll be moving into Vikings, potentially getting some Ravens in as well, which is going to be great, because now we are starting to have Scarlett move into Bruther production, and we have 2 Corruptors on the way. But if you look at resources, she can't really afford too many of them quite yet, especially with the 3rd constantly having a pressure on it. Actually, LucifroN's okay with losing this army as long as he keeps killing off these hatcheries. He killed off 2 hatcheries and now almost a 3rd as well. So he's content with keeping them here as he macros up behind all of it.
And this is the only place the Zergling run-by could actually do damage, so good on Scarlett for finding that. As it looks like finally the rest of the army caught in a tiny little choke point, but making their way down. And finally, a worker has been killed. That's GG, and LucifroN takes game number 1 of this best of 3.
His Banshees did so much damage early in mid-game that the actual late-game transition into Broodlords took forever for Scarlett to do. Normally she's sitting at around 12:30. That wasn't really hitting until 14 minutes, and at 14 minutes is when LucifroN pushed again with a huge push and killed off that 3rd and that 4th. Great job of really destroying Scarlett, actually, in terms of keeping her off those bases.
All right, so guys, we're going to bounce to our second map here in just a second, but we are going to run to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll see if Scarlett gets knocked into the lower bracket or if LucifroN is going to have a score tied up again. So let's run to that commercial break. We'll be right back after this.